murder or criminal organisation, that the courts will not throw it out on a technicality effectively. Now, I'm sure there's a way more better place to describe that legal debate, but that is effectively what we saw in the Regency trial, where it was accepted that the information
Dad, look, I'm as rich as Donald Trump.
was sort of garnered without the correct warrants or the correct permissions, but it was decided that because you're investigating crimes that are so serious, that the court should be allowed to hear it. Now, we have a conservative legal establishment, I suppose, and that conservative legal establishment who, interact with the DPP or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe it's the DPP themselves take a view that this may not succeed in court. But you do sometimes wonder, is it not worth giving it a go anyway?
Well, absolutely. And given what you're seeing in the north and what you're seeing in the UK on the Ankara stuff, you'd also wonder if this case is taken, which, if it isn't taken, we're into a whole different landscape with organised crime in this country, because we really are opening the doors to come and operate here on these devices. But let's say it is taken, which would be the hope. That will then open the floodgates for all that EncroChat material that has sat there. We do know there's one file with the Director of Public Prosecution relating to EncroChat, relating to drug activity, that has been sitting there without a decision made for 18 months. But there is what we know to be an absolute huge amount of messages of crimes that have been committed that are recorded on this stuff. And you'd wonder if one case happens, will we see a flood of stuff coming before the courts? A late flood, perhaps, a little bit later than our other European neighbours, but nonetheless, very significant organised crime gangs were using those Encro phones. We know that Encro material is now coming into the case around some of those charged with the Robbie Lawler murder in the north of Ireland. We know that murder was plotted and planned, open much to, but you'd have to think that it would follow on. Let's just go back a little bit to what we mentioned earlier about the gangland legislation, we call it, because that was brought in, I think, around 2008, 2009.
Yeah, it was brought in following the murder of an innocent rugby player in Limerick in a case of mistaken identity. Michael McDowell brought it in, shortly after, and in the next, there were no cases, but the first case came involving two brothers in Galway, and they were successfully bugged. It was felt their car was bugged, and they were prosecuted as members of a crime gang.
Look how much money I got in the game.
Nothing for a long period of time. Some of the fears around that legislation were,
774,000.
Around the bugging.
That's
we nearly got 4,000.
Being able to prove membership of an organisation, proving the existence of an organisation, and then proving somebody was a member. So there was that conservatism that we both bring this case, and it was only really in the aftermath of all the which kind of ensued that we saw these cases become routine, and that legislation